Valley girls and guys, it's Lisa, Quilting in the Valley. We are working on our rulerwork quilting. We are on the corner blocks. So we will do blocks 1 and 2, two of the 4 corners, outside corners of this quilt. The first one we're going to do is this one. And this uses your Spinifex number 36 ruler. If you look on your rulers in your set, you will see that it has the name etched in right there. It says Circles on Quilt Spinning Wheel 36. So this is a Spinifex number 36. You'll also see that there's a little pinhole right there. That little pinhole is for a thumbtack. Your thumbtack came in your ruler set. And it is just a thumbtack. If you lose your thumbtack, it is no big deal. Just buy a pack of thumbtacks from the office supply store. I'll show you how you're going to use these. Make sure you get your non-slip tape torn and put on either side where your fingers are going to roll on this ruler. Then the next thing you're going to need to get started is to mark your block. So as usual, we're going to mark our block. You should have 16-inch square pieces for your block, quilt sandwiches. And please tell me you're using junk fabric, because this is practice and it's gonna be ugly. Make it ugly. The only way you're gonna learn to get better at it is if you make mistakes. Let the rulers do what the rulers can do. Relax your shoulders and just go with the flow. You'll get better. The more you let the rulers do their thing, you'll get better at this. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is mark a 12.5-inch square in the center of our 16-inch quilt sandwich. You can always use a larger ruler. Do 2 sides, move it, and then do 2 sides. Okay, so I have a square. It's 12.5 inches. I want to quadrant it off. So in order to do that, I am going to go 6.5 inches. I'm sorry, 6.25 inches. Sorry, about did you wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not right. Well, that's the wrong way. I would like to find the number 1 on this ruler. There we go. 6.25 inches. Okay. So we're going 6.25 inches. We're marking down. And then I'm gonna, again, I'm making a quadrant, so 6.25 inches. And I'm marking up. Okay, now we're gonna use this. If you have it, if you don't have it, just use a straight ruler. But if you have this, you can center this right in each quadrant. Mark your center point, it's very important. And then crossways through the block and quadrants through the block. So you're going to come this way, and then point to point, point to point. You're going to do that for each of the 4 quadrants of the block. Okay. And again, we're going to do it down here. If you want one of these, we have them in stock. I think they're $36 for the small one. I would advise against getting the big one. They're very hard to transport. They break easily. Because they've got all of these open gaps in them. You can get a larger one, but like I said, the smaller one is probably going to last you longer. The larger one is a little more expensive, and they are kind of brittle because they're open in here. Okay, so this is what your block should look like to start with. Then remember I told you about that thumbtack. So we're going to take our thumbtack, and we're going to literally place it right through from the bottom of your quilt sandwich into your center mark on your block. Then you're going to take your Spinifex number 36. You've got your tape on both sides, your non-slip tape, and it'll just sit down on top of that thumbtack. Easy peasy. Okay, one thing I'm going to point out before we get started is on your Spinifex number 36, you have an A and a B. Your A and your B marking are where you're going to start and stop. You start at A, you stop at B. So I'm going to show you, just watch me through the first time, and then you can try it. Okay, so as always, I have my feed dogs down, I have my ruler foot on, I have my straight stitch plate in, I'm using my 40 weight Aurifil, I have a quilting needle installed, I have my glider on, my sandwich is marked, and now I'm going to bring up my bobbin thread, and I keep these little tweezers on hand just for that purpose. And okay, so I started at B, it doesn't make a difference. So I'm going to start at B, and I'm going to go around, I'm going to end at A. You can do it the other way. Okay, so I'm going this way. I go up to the point. I stop for just a minute at the point so that I have a point. I come down, and in this instance, I'm stopping at A. I'm going to pull those threads out of the way, make sure they're out of the way. Now, I'm going to rotate counterclockwise because I started at B and went to A. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to rotate it on that thumbtack until the center line at the point of my ruler is aligned with the line that goes through the corner of the block. I'm going around, I stop for just a second, I come back down, stop at A. I'm going to rotate that ruler again so that the line goes through my drawn line. Come back to A. Again, you guys can do this the other way if you want. You can go from A to B. I don't know why I decided to go to B to A this time, but I did. Rotate it, it's now facing me. Rotate it, and again, I'm keeping that center line on that ruler. Get those threads out of the way. That center line on the ruler lined up on my drawn lines. Coming around. You guys remember spirograph? That is basically what we're doing here. We're doing a spirograph. All right, I've made it all the way around. And I am now going to pull up my bobbin thread like I showed you on the first series of videos.
Are you picking up, Kathy?
And there we go.
Okay. Well, if you have the receipt and everything, I can refund you.
There you go.
While you wait.
So we just made the Spinifex
Okay, so you placed
number 36.
And yesterday.
There you go.
Okay, I'll
So we're going to do that in all four of these quadrants. You're going to make four of them. One here, one here, one here, one here. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to fill the center. So now we have all four of our quadrants filled in. And just to make this neater, we're going to go ahead and bury our threads before we move to the next step, because otherwise you're going to have a ton of threads hanging out and it looks yucky and you catch it in your rotation and you don't like that. So we're going to take that side threading needle that I showed you last time. So just slide it right under here, pop it into your needle, go right underneath your fabric, and bury those in. And pull them through nicely. Well, maybe. There we go. There. I don't know what that caught on. It caught on something. So this makes a nice finished set. So if you look on the back side, oh, I didn't get my, oops. I missed one there. But anyway, if you look on the back side, now I don't have any big knots back here. So and there you go. And then again, you see it's nice and neat on the other side. Okay. And now we have nice, neat on both sides. And that makes it a little easier to see where we're going for the next step. We're going to take our thumbtack, and you'll see, because we marked the 4 quadrants, our center block got marked automatically, so I don't have to mark that. We're actually going to do this one more time in the center block, but we're going to do something a little different with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up on A like we did before. Like that. Okay. Just like we started the others, I'm going to make the first block, or the first petal. Now I'm going to rotate, and you're going to see that, or hopefully you can see that, I'm overlapping my previous rotation. So one of the petals is coming out, and if I do this, it's going to overlap it. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and just overlap it and make 2 points overlapping one another, but the actual block, they want you to travel around. So you come up to your previous petal, and then I'm going to travel down my previous stitch line from that first flower that I made, and then come back. Then I can rotate, make a normal petal, I'm going to rotate, and now I'm overlapping again. You ought to be able to see this one a little bit better because this one's facing me. So I'm going to come around, I'm going to stop on that previous stitch line, I'm going to travel down it, and I'm going to come back up, rotate, do a full petal, then I'm going to rotate, and again this is another one I'm overlapping, so I'm going to stitch around it. So I come here, stop on that stitch line, travel down it, rotate, I have a full petal, And my last one is going to be another partial petal. So I come in, travel, and finish off where I started. As usual, I bring up my bobbin thread. Pull that up. And I'm going to bury these threads again. With my cinch side threading needle. I'm going to come in, bury that thread. So I have a nice finish, and you don't see extra threads. And I will take my thumbtack out, and there you go. That is our finished block. And you can see how this petal looks like it's laying underneath that petal. That's it for this block. We're going to do another one